start with you.
Oh,
Our next question is, would you approve a cannabis dispensary in Decatur? Why or why not?
Yes, I definitely would. I think the fact that we just saw one break ground right down the road in Harristown kind of proves the point. You know, I remember I was in the room when the council met and was voting on the decisions to have a cannabis dispensary here. I think the justification was given that one, you know, Mr. Buffett had recently just opened a drug rehabilitation facility here, and they didn't necessarily want to make anything that would step on his toes. We want to take a wait and see approach, and the result of that has been literally millions of dollars in which we have been left out in our community. You know, you oftentimes hear about R3 initiatives going on throughout the state, but that's one of the stipulations in R3, which all the funding comes from cannabis-related sales. If you do not contribute to that, you are not able to get the dollars anywhere near to the comparison of levels that other communities are getting here. And that's exactly why we need to do so. It's just fiscally regressive to do so. People are going to consume cannabis both legally and illegally. They're going to go to the west in Springfield. They're going to go to the east in Champaign, to the north in Normal. And they're going to be giving those tax dollars to other counties, other communities that have a better situation than we do. These are vital dollars that we vitally need here. And I agree with you what your position personally would be on cannabis. If you don't like it, you don't want to see the community smoking it, I can understand why you would feel that way. But by that same sense, if it's going to happen in our community regardless, why are we not going to get the funding from such that everyone else around us is? Things that we truly could be putting into neighborhood revitalization, or other efforts to, you know, bridge the gaps between the community and police officers, or paying individuals in certain industries more money for certain things of that nature. These are the type of avenues which we could research and explore if we were just to simply say, yes, a cannabis dispensary can do business here in Macon County. It's just a fiscally regressive decision to do so. And you know, we've made a series of fiscally regressive decisions over the past 30 to 40 years that's helped contribute or exacerbate the situations that we're talking about. We've made good strides in other areas, but there's certain decisions that just don't make much sense. In fact, as I said, I traveled across the state, and many people ask the question, why? Why would you simply say no when there's so much money to be made from such? So.
On the cannabis dispensaries, I'm gonna show one correlation. Several years ago, the council at that time had an opportunity to get a license for a casino here in Decatur, and it was turned down. I think that was the worst decision could have been made for Decatur, because we lost revenue. We could have had one casino with millions of jobs ongoing and a lot of revenue coming in. Today now we have hundreds of gaming places all over the city, with the city getting very little funds. I think we would have been much better off with a gambling facility or one big casino. So I relate that to cannabis. I'm not totally sold on open wide cannabis facility. I do think we need to be talking about a cannabis facility of some type. Medical cannabis facility. I think the records have shown that people with health issues, it helps them. And if we can help somebody that's maybe toward the end of their life, I think we have the responsibility to do that. It will be prescribed by a physician. So I think we do need to open up and really look at, I think our council needs to open up and really look at a medical facility in Decatur. Harrisburg is getting a cannabis facility. They may get another one. It's no secret that our people will go there and purchase. But if they have any issues, no matter what it may be, we will be footing the bill to take care of whatever problems that they may have. But we will not be getting no revenue to assist with those treatments that they may need. So I think we do need to look at, realistically look at what we can do in looking at getting a license for a medical dispensary, and possibly leading towards looking at a full dispensary if it works out. But I think we would do wrong by not pursuing it and talking about it. We need to bring it to the council and at least have a conversation. Thank you.
A couple of points, and I may be mistaken, Councilman, but I don't believe a casino vote ever came before the city council. There was talk of a casino, but at the time you had to be on a river, and we weren't considered a river, and it couldn't put one on Lake Decatur. And as far as the gaming places, that's one of the reasons I've been against a dispensary here, is because we could not, I was on the council that approved having gaming here, and it was primarily to help our bars and restaurants that had been hit pretty hard during the recession, and when smoking was no longer allowed indoors, it hurt their business. We've been very strict on drunk driving, which has also taken away from some of their business. So my understanding was that those would be the businesses that would benefit. Didn't turn out that way, and it was what we didn't know. And so I have been very hesitant to support a dispensary, largely because I want to see how this is going to play out in some other places. As to the millions of dollars, Peoria is a good example. They have had legalized marijuana in their community with dispensaries, and they're bigger than us, and their total for the community, they bring in around $600,000 a year, so it's not millions. And as the economy is bad, what people are going to do is go more to the black market, and black market sales have tended to skyrocket when you have a dispensary. So I have been opposed to having a dispensary here. I mean, if Harristown ends up making $300,000 a year in their tax revenue, it will be great for that community. They don't have much in the way of retail, but it's not something that I can support at this time here. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to say that when we debated this issue at council, not one time was my decision ever rendered by someone else who could have applied a lot of pressure. I made a decision not to support cannabis. I had a unique opportunity because I worked at the Department of Revenue when they were putting together the cannabis legislation. And so I had a front row seat to see the types of taxes that were put on marijuana. I also got to read through the legislation, and the drafters of the legislation, the sponsors of the legislation, absolutely knew that the sale of marijuana was going to cause problems in communities. And the way they went about taking care of that was you can go to the statute and you can read the percentage of revenue that is allocated for drug rehab, and the list is long. To me, when legislators have to take money to fix problems that they know that marijuana was going to cause, why would I want to bring that into my community? The other part of this is, and I'm going to make it really short, I am not willing to sell the soul of my community for a few bucks.
I was one of the council members that voted no, because I was co-chair or chairman for 5 years of the Drug-Free Coalition. We studied what has happened in other states, Colorado, California, and other states. We brought in experts. In Colorado, for every dollar of tax money the state brought in, they spent another $10 million dealing with the medical problems, especially with the young people. Again, it's one of those sin tax. Government's always looking for something to, some extra tax to put on. I'm not for it. I've listened to other medical experts on the radio and what it does to young people. Read the Decatur Tribune every week when they have all the felons, misdemeanor, and the number of citizens in Decatur in Macon County that are stopped for not only DUI, which also includes drugs. It's really bad. So I will never support it. If you want to get a cheap high, just stand out on your boulevard on a major street and mow, and you'll get a cheap high because all the cars coming by. It's really bad. And and as far as the mayor talked about the video gaming, Dr. Ray and I were the only two that voted against it. And I buy a lottery ticket once in a while, but sitting in front of a video gaming, just to keep feeding money in, I just couldn't do it. So it is a real issue deciding, but it has been brought up. More bad guys and bad gals move into the neighborhoods in cities that have legalized marijuana because they can undercut the price.
Okay.